ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Movie Buff.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that was how we started. No, I'm just kidding. I took a really big chug.
One more chug, hold
on. One more chug.
Well, I want my actual water. Sorry. Ooh. 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 Okay. All right. I'm ready.
All right, world. Are we ready? Yep. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. What's going on? Welcome back for what is going to be episode 2 of Movie Buff. That's right. A BTS original podcast here in addition to Hot Cocks, another awesome podcast you can, of course, check out on our SoundCloud and iTunes and all that good stuff. But here at Movie Buffed, we're here to talk about, well, movies. I'm Dakota. I am the creative producer at Beyond the Summit. I have a theatrical and acting and performing dancing background, a love for movies, a love for video games, and, well, the gentleman to my left is, of course...
What's up? I'm Dan. I am the content director here at BTS. My background's in film and animation. I came from the music industry into esports, and now I'm here to talk about all things I love, games and movies, guys.
And seriously, not Silent Bob. So those of you watching our video stream, of course, at twitch.tv, seriously keep it down right now. This man is... He's on a whole nother level than what Silent Bob could ever hope to be. All right, let's keep it real here. So on the last episode of Movie Buffed, our debut episode, we got to cover something very special to Beyond the Summit, of course, which is Dota 2 in free-to-play, the Dota 2 documentary. A wonderful time. We had Ken Chen with us. And again, you can check that out on our SoundCloud. It was really an awesome time. But I'm excited, Dan, because now we get to embark on just an original movie experience, a classic, one that will really tickle your nostalgic pickle. It's The Wizard. Let's check out the trailer right now.
2 tickets to California, please.
That's $226.
Well, we only have $27.30. What does that get us?
Nowhere.
Corey's taking his brother Jimmy on a ride.
These two boys already traveled more than 80 miles across the state.
We've hired someone to find him.
What's his problem? He's just shy.
But Jimmy's got a secret
You got 50,000 on Double Dragon?
that could make this the ride of their lives.
Look at him. He's a wizard.
He's headed for the video championship.
This guy?
What is that?
Power glove.
Yeah, well, just keep your power gloves up front, all right?
With a touch of romance
I am not kissing a boy.
and a ton of trouble.
That's huge.
We're too late.
1 feet down! Sorry about that. You maniac!
They'll get there any way they can.
Hey, here we come!
It's Jimmy! It's Jimmy!
Come here! Hey!
Now, what do you think you're doing to him?
All his life, you've been telling him to do what you want him to do. How about once you ask him what he wants to do, huh?
Now,
Video Armageddon.
it's going to take a lot of guts,
You can do it!
a little magic,
You're the best!
and the wizard, Fred Savage. The Wizard.
Oh, just an amazing classic piece of gaming history here. The Wizard from 1989. Dan, I am a
amazing.
ripe boy of 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, 1989, I am 4. I'm 4 as well. Probably, 3 or 4. It is, watching that trailer is so funny because I'm just instantly transported back to then. And it's funny how they only mention Fred Savage.
The ending is just great. Fred Savage.
Fred Savage. If you don't know,
That's it.
Fred Savage at that time,
Wonder Years.
Wonder Years is going on. He's probably the biggest
Huge.
celebrity, child celebrity, period. It's also funny because his brother plays Corey, and he plays Corey in this movie. His brother plays Corey in Boy Meets World. Okay, so setting the stage for this movie, 1989. It releases in December.
Yeah,
December 15th.
Nintendo's out. We all love Nintendo. That is the draw, it feels like, to this movie. Video gaming in a movie for the first time.
Yeah.
And this is what you love to say. This is the first esports movie, possibly?
100%. I think it's absolutely the first esports movie. They were so far ahead of their time. They understood like what was going to happen, and obviously this is a Nintendo manufactured kind of vision
For sure.
but there were so many points when we watched this movie where I felt like, wow, they really get it and they really saw what was going to happen. But it's funny. So Nintendo spent a lot on this movie. They're a huge reason it happened. Interesting though, even for a big vehicle at the time, very small budget, $6 million movie. So it gets funded in 1989. They bring on the director. I believe his name is, I want to say Todd Howard, but I can't. I can find it here. How fast the production came together. Todd Holland is the director.
Holland.
All right, so very funny how it came together really, really fast. So read a bunch of articles, learned a little bit about it. He said that basically he gets the script on a Thursday.
Okay.
He reads the script. He goes in for a meeting on Friday. On Monday, he's signed, and they're prepping. Okay, so that is so that is summer of 89. They only get a little bit to prep. I think it was like month or 3 months, something like that. And in June of 89, they start filming. And in December, they release. You realize how crazy that is?
I mean, Dan, we watched the movie. It's not like the story has layers of depth to it, all right? It's your basic kid kind of movie plot, runaway story, all right?
Yeah.
Let's start with the basics of this movie. The kids are runaway. The show opens, and little Jimmy, who is like the main centerpiece of the wizard, by the way, he is the wizard, walking down the road by himself. There you can
There
see
it is, yeah.
with a lunch pail.
Looks like
That's all
Tatooine.
you know.
Looks like Tatooine, dude.
Yeah. How the hell he managed to walk out this far on his own? He's still in good shape, moving straight forward, clean, crisp shirt, ironed, looking nice. But
It's funny. This shot too it's a really, really long shot.
long shot.
Very, very long
The whole
shot.
intro is this shot,
It's
him
this.
walking. Yeah.
All the intro credits is this, and this movie that's like a theme in this movie is they do a lot of very, very long shots, which I think is a budget.
Is that an
thing.
art choice, Dan, or is that a budget choice?
I think it's a budget choice.
Okay.
I mean, when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking he probably wants to do more, but because of time and budget constraints, he's like just gonna get it done in one. So there's a lot of conversations that happen, long, single camera, one take. A lot of elements like this, long, single camera, one take.
Heavy emphasis on showing that this boy is alone on this road and something is not right. Something's not right with this boy, or something is not right with where this boy has come from, is really the premise that this movie is laying out right out of the gate here. And just in addition to that, like, how many movies around this time are really about runaways or kids running away, going off into adventure? Let's just try to name some movies here, Dan. I can start us off with one. Ready? A classic and a fantastic one, Goonies.
Goonies, incredible. Okay.
Goonies.
Give me more.
Oh,
What
wait,
do
how
you
about
got?
Stand By Me?
Oh my god.
Kids walking down the railroad track,
Christ.
going out on
that-
adventure,
okay.
learning valuable lessons to
Here's
come
the deal.
back and become better people.
The difference between Stand By Me and this and Goonies. This and Goonies are like fantasies, right?
Yeah.
Everything goes right. Basically, little kids are actually just little adults. Everything is treated like they're little adults. Stand By Me is like this horrific version of that.
That's true.
So that's like
true.
a terribly dark turn. But these are fantasies. This is as a little kid, I remember
It's
being
funny
like,
when you say like they're treating the kids as adults, because you really get that with this movie, and we'll go into it more later.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they really try to set like these kids as adults, because I feel like if they try to do a lot of these themes now in movies, it would be extremely awkward, uncomfortable, and you just don't go there.
well, this movie is dark in itself.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We'll get into it. Hook, in a fantasy sense, leaving home, going off an adventure. How about Homeward Bound?
Homeward Bound. I was gonna say, does it count if it's dogs?
It's dogs, but you know, Homeward Bound is just such a fantastic
Homeward Bound.
movie.
I mean, that was for me when I was a little kid. All I wanted to do, and I'm gonna say another one that is actually mentioned this movie multiple times, and there's lots of parallels. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so Pee-wee's Big Adventure comes out just before this, and it's referenced indirectly once and directly once in this movie. So one time when they're in the Universal tour, they mention a fake Pee Wee Herman Zsa Zsa Gabor movie that is from Pee Wee's Big Adventure. And then later, in the very dramatic ending,
Yes.
the dinosaur location is the same one from Pee Wee Herman.
Boom.
Boom.
I mean, it was probably pretty obvious
Boom.
if you've seen both movies and you see the dinosaurs and you're like, I've seen this before somewhere. But yeah, it's pretty nutty, and those kind of themes happen throughout the movie. It's ridiculous. So, anyways, we're at Jimmy,
All right, we're on
traumatized
Jimmy.
boy. Something's going on. We don't know what
Do we want
it
to get
is.
into Jimmy? Do we
We
want
don't
to
want to go
Jimmy?
too far into Jimmy, but it's just that something's going on here. He's running away. They have to commit all this extra time and manpower. The police force have to go out. And unfortunately, the movie's perspective, it's like, this is a burden. Like,
Yeah.
we have to work to get this kid. They don't care about the kid, the health of the kid. They're just like, really, we have to work really hard to find this kid. You know that, right? Isn't
I
that
forgot
kind
about
of weird?
the plane. Wait, so yeah. Well, in this movie, they give so many resources. There's a plane.
Yep.
There is, like, a cop. I guess that's it. So it's not maybe that. But the plane, for me, is the funniest part about the sequence. It is, like, flying, like, the stunt shot of the little boy, Jimmy.
And
the
the
cop.
opening scene, walking down the road.
Yeah, and then you have the plane flying like 15 feet above its head, and it's like bobbling all over the place. It's
Totally
like,
safe. Yeah,
it
just,
looks.
we
it's-
found him. Let's not hit him.
It's so
you know?
80s. It's so amazing.
It's ridiculous. So they find Jimmy, they bring him back, and
California.
The kid does not speak in a whole lot. The parents understand something has happened. They reveal at that point that there has been some sort of traumatic event, and you're only led in to believe initially this might be from a divorce. Because on the radio they're saying that, he and his remarried mom, take him to his remarried mom. So, okay, the kid's been through a divorce. He's traumatized. He's running away from home. That's kind of what we're getting here.
Yeah.
And
It just seems weird.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, so the kid's a little off, and he likes building blocks, apparently, Dan. He likes putting blocks here and stacking them, and he doesn't talk much. So this movie is from 1989. I feel like, Dan, if this movie was aired now or just even a little further in the future, the A-bomb would have been dropped. The autism bomb would have come out on this kid for sure. But they never say that. Listen to what they say about this boy in the movie, but they do not say autism. They call him, like, handicapped, a basket case, brainless, space case, and a mutant. They call him all of those things in the movie, Dan. They don't say autism or like that, but they're totally cool saying all of that.
But I mean, when we watch it, the first thing I was thinking was, holy shit, like this kid's got autism. Like, every single thing that happens in this is like an autistic kid who's extremely gifted in this like one super hyper focused thing, which in this movie is video games, which is very funny because, I mean, not funny, but relevant, as that is what a lot of people will say about really intense gamers nowadays, is that they're autistic. And this kid, I mean, it's so on the nail, every single thing, and there's several scenes that kind of just like hammer it through you. That's what this kid's going through.
Yeah. But all we know at this point is he's very quiet. He's running away from home, running away from his family, and he likes building blocks, doesn't say much. This movie's 1989. 1988, just 1 year before, is when Rain Man comes out. The first, like, autistic, savant movie that really just puts it out there for everybody to see. And then it was 1991, 2 years after The Wizard, that the federal government makes autism a special education category where public schools begin identifying children on the spectrum and offering them special services, which is crazy because in this movie, they're looking at him like there's something's off. He might have to go to an institution.
Yeah.
Whereas flash forward a couple of years, they would have been like, oh, he might be on the spectrum. Let's offer him these courses.
Yeah, it's incredible you bring up Rain Man, because when I was doing some research about this, so there's a very, very interesting article that I'm going to link in the description that has the town that they filmed this all in Nevada. And they get interviews from everybody in the town. They show before and after. But one of the people that they interview is the Nevada Film Commissioner director, who was in charge of this movie at the time. And she said that the movie was nicknamed Rainboy because it was so, like, mirrored Rain Man exactly. And if you look at it, it's funny. I mean, Fred Savage is basically Tom Cruise. He's trying to get this guy into hustle and make money as they're on this little road trip together. And this guy is kind of this reluctant tag along who's just doing it because he's very good at it. And I guess that was something that the writer and the team behind this movie really did not like, is that they referred to it as Rain Boy. But, I mean, as soon as you see the two next to each other, you're like, wow, it's actually the
this
same
is
movie.
kids' Rain Man for sure.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
it
yeah.
really is. Like,
Yeah.
in a nutshell, that's really what it's all about. So that's
so much of the
crazy.
stuff is just like there's little adults, you know? Like, there's a big part of this movie that takes place in Reno, which is funny, Little Vegas. And then instead of going to Vegas, these kids go to Reno, like little adults. Like, I don't know.
And this is actually a perfect segue because I want to show off this first real good, like, scene, I'd say, of the movie. And this comes after they grab Jimmy, bring him back, say that something's not right. We may have to put him into an institution.
Okay.
And that there's a divorce. Now, where's the father at? That's where this clip comes in. What's going on with the father? What's the father have going on, you know?
Do we know which clip we're going to? Yeah, here we go.
Is that something original, Dad?
I'm trying to cook you guys a decent meal. Can't be living off of burgers and pizza.
It cannot possibly belong to one of the 4 major food groups.
It's a casserole, genius. Doesn't it look like a casserole? Huh?
We saw Jimmy yesterday, Dad.
Yeah? So how is he?
We're talking about putting him in a home.
That's Christine's decision.
She has custody now, you know that. Well, I'm not really too hungry. I'll grab some a little later.
I want to know about the pickup. I found it this morning, covered with mud. You took it again.
Just give me a break, please. This has nothing to do with the pickup.
It has everything to do with it. I want to know why you disobey me when I give you a direct order.
Why do you do this?
You're gonna put him in a home, Nick.
He hasn't changed
come
ever
on,
since
Dad.
Jennifer. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't say anything.
Now, what about it, man? What about the rules around
Don't
here?
call me man, all right?
What, to pick up the rules? You always do this.
Corey, come on.
No, Dad, will you listen to me? What, you want to see that happen? Huh? You want to see him put Jimmy in a home?
Corey,
Fine, Dad. Just because he's our half brother, it doesn't matter, right?
huh?
She'll be the cancer bowl.
That tastes awful. So, you know, your typical scene of a father who's struggling, you know, he's stuck with the boys. The boys are, you know, in chaotic situation. Super important scene on many levels.
Lots
here,
to
Dan.
unpack.
Lots to take in here. I don't even know where to begin with this one. So
I just want to begin with the faces we see. First off, Bo Bridges.
Bo Bridges, the dad.
Bo Bridges is the dad at the time. He's probably the most experienced actor on set.
Yep.
Probably the guy that brings the most, not necessarily star power, but like just acting chops.
And I got to say, from an acting background, not that, you know, I'm anywhere near the level of this man here. I liked him in the movie a lot. I thought he did a great job with it.
Yeah.
He has a great scene later on we're going to check where he just really is very powerful. And it feels like he's not doing a lot in this scene, but I don't think he needs to do much to convey what it is. Like when he's hit with a disappointment, like they're putting Jimmy in a home, he's just kind of silent for a moment, looks away, and he's in front of his boys. He can't show too much, so he's got to keep it cold. And then you look at someone like Fred Savage, who is really happy to show off his acting chops a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Almost a little too much, it feels
you
like in
think
this
so?
scene. Like, yeah, but
he feels like a little kid.
He is
acting
a hard,
like an adult.
He is a hard piece in the movie, so he does need to kind of take it a little further than everyone else. But yeah, it's like, okay, this is Fred Savage.
Yeah.
Hello, how you doing?
That I actually think this is Fred Savage's worst scene in the movie because it feels like you're in a room with two older people. One is like this cool Christian. First off, his brother. If you're not watching, his brother in this scene is Christian Slater.
Oh yeah,
Okay? Cool guy, big time actor. So you got Christian Slater, Bo Bridges, and you're trying to impress them. He feels like he's trying to do that when you watch this scene.
Yeah.
I feel like later there's only a couple other times where it comes out, but here he definitely feels like it. But overall, very interesting start to the story.
Yeah, and there's definitely hard story notes in that scene that definitely if you're watching this as a kid, you're not going to hear. They're just going to go by and you're never going to know about. But there are important notes. For example, Christian Slater says, ever since Jennifer. Whoa, excuse me here. Who the hell is Jennifer? It's not the mom. The mom is Christine Bateman.
Yep.
All right? Who's Jennifer?
Yeah.
You know? And at this point, you just, if you're watching this and you're trying to take everything in, you'd just be a bit confused as far as what that means.
Yeah, you do two things. You either just let it pass and you're gonna like figure it out later.
Yeah.
Or you're confused.
Yeah.
And I was super confused. Rewatching this, trying to figure it out, I was like, wait, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. Because you watch it, you think it's maybe a divorce. And then he says Jennifer, and you're like, that Jennifer's not the name of the mom. But they do also drop a bit that because he's a half brother. So this is a dad who has remarried with 2 kids, taking in another kid.
Yes.
And so it's a lot of a story.
It is not a simple backstory.
They hit you with
It
a
is
double
really confusing.
remarriage kid situation in a kid's movie right away. You're kind of a bit like, what the hell's going on? I just want Nintendo games right now.
Yeah, to break it down, Fred Savage so Corey and Jimmy, brothers, are really half brothers, step brothers, and it is a remarriage from a divorce and another split, right? It's a second. Oh, I have like a quote where it like perfectly surmises, but it also spoils some stuff that I don't want to get into later.
We can't. The thing is that this only just leaks to the beginning.
Yeah,
of
let's
really,
move through it.
There's
Let's
a
move
lot.
through it.
There's
So we
a
don't
lot.
know.
All right. So
all we know is that there's a confusing family
It's not
history.
just divorce. That's all we know. If there's something else going on with this kid, maybe he is really mentally fucked up. Who knows?
Yeah.
So obviously we see Corey, a.k.a. Fred Savage. He's not happy with the situation. He wants to be the hero. He's going to rescue Jimmy. Okay, so he goes to where Jimmy is. And Jimmy is already now, Dan, put into a hospital just like that. The kid
look at
runs
that.
away a couple of times. You know, he's not talking a whole lot. They put him into a hospital just like that. And they really like to set the tone of this hospital. Like the first kid they go and they check out in one of the rooms is like one of the derpiest looking kids ever. He's got like, I think he has drool, Dan, coming out of his mouth.
Oh my God.
He has drool coming out of his mouth. So they're really trying to say that there are special needs kids who come here.
Yeah.
And they're watching war films.
Is that what they're watching?
Both of them are watching like crazy war documentaries in black and white.
Okay, so that's so that's a very interesting thing to just like break down from a like
I don't know
director
what
point
is
of view.
happening.
So a lot about what I read about this director was that he had no problems with Nintendo. Okay, Nintendo let him do whatever he want, but the studio itself was constantly pushing back, and he was just doing things without approval. And later, the ending scene in specific is something that he shot without approval, off budget, completely out of scope, because he felt it was like super important. And this is one of those things that I feel like he snuck in to like visually show, okay, war, super traumatic, terrible things happen, and then these kids are kids that have suffered terrible things. So he's drawing parallels really subliminally. That's like a very hidden, not necessarily a pixel peep, but it's a very like it's something a lot of filmmakers do that you're not going to really notice until the second time around. I didn't notice this at all. So it's very interesting you brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, again, I'm not seeing any of this. I am super jaded as a kid. I just want to see this kid get high scores on Nintendo games.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing little drooly kids in bed watching war movies. That's just ridiculous. So anyways, Fred Savage somehow is able to walk into this place. No one's questioning him at all. He goes right up to Jimmy's room, finds Jimmy there, and says, Jimmy's just zoned in on the TV. And this is when we first hear Jimmy just do the California thing. He's not speaking a lot, but he wants to go to California.
California. Well, I just realized
What is California?
The kid, that's the same exact frame that was on the other kid's thing. If you
They
look,
were definitely moving. These are still images we're looking at right here, but they might have been playing the same clips.
I mean, it might have just replayed the same clip. We also see in this scene our first product placement. Can you spot it?
Oh, I didn't know it was this
This is our
soon.
first one, yeah.
Is it on the skateboard?
It is on the skateboard.
What
so
is it?
It is Vision Streetwear and Skateboarding Company, which is funny that they have him have this because later in the movie, Vision Streetwear is only associated. You can see it in this little thing right down here, yeah. So on the grip tape, you can see it says Vision. Vision is what all the cool kids and like the bad guy in this movie and all of his friends, they all wear Vision. And it's a streetwear clothing company, skateboard company. and I didn't notice it until right now, but that is the first time we see it, and the first product placements, of which there's many.
Oh, and Dan, we don't go, it's not too long before we see the next product placement, actually, because when they ditch this place, you know, Corey's coming in, he's grabbing Jimmy, and they want to go, and what do they hop into because they have no car? A Wonder Bread truck.
Hostess.
A Wonder Bread Hostess cake truck. I mean, as a kid, I am just like, that would be the dream, Dan. I love those little fucking Hostess cupcakes. They're so sweet. Cavities, diabetes.
Who thought Wonder Bread could be cool? I thought when I was a kid, my mom wouldn't buy us Wonder Bread. We had like good bread, you know? But I thought Wonder Bread was the cool bread for whatever reason. And now I'm realizing, oh yeah, it's probably because it was in all these shows that I watched and it was commercials. There are a couple brands in this. Obviously Nintendo, Vision, I just talked about. Almost everything else is something to do with sugar. Like everything else in this movie, and it's just like over and over and over. Do you have? I think you might have broke down some more of the sponsors that they have in this.
I know we see like soda,
lots of
soda. Squirt is in there, I believe.
Squirt
even
snuck in.
You know, it's just what they're drinking and stuff, and yeah, I don't know what's intentional, what's not, but as a kid,
all intentional.
You know, as a kid, you're watching this and you're seeing. These are kids who are super cool. They're doing great in video games. They're eating Wonder Bread.
They're smashing Wonder Bread.
I got to get in on some of that Wonder Bread action right now, Daniel. All right, so kids are going off on an adventure in Wonder Bread. Sounds like the dream come true.
Yeah.
Jimmy's mom and stepfather, they're not afraid to show that this guy's a douche right away, the stepfather.
You got to have a douchey stepfather.
Yeah, you got to have the evil guys. And this is where we get to meet some of the evil figures of the movie. They show the stepfather he talks about how he is lawfully obliged, like he has to care for Jimmy, so therefore he has to care about Jimmy's whereabouts and his health.
Keep him safe.
Yeah, not that this is my
safe.
son or my new son and I'm very scared and I hope he's okay and this is a very terrifying experience. He's out on his own in a runaway. It's just I gotta get him back. Well, and he's got to get treated.
If you know what, I feel like we almost have to talk about what happens later because here is where actually the writing is really good. In the wording that he uses is not. It's very specific.
Okay.
And the wording that he's using, if you understand what's happening later, is directly trying to manipulate and create a power play over the mom. So he says, "I have been tasked with keeping him safe at all costs." Okay, and then the mom comes in later in this scene when they're arguing. This is a scene where she talks about the river.
Yes, you're
for
right.
the first time.
You're right.
Okay,
because he's saying Jimmy's running away. He's going all over the place. He's going to the canyon. He's going over here. He's going to the river. And the mom steps in and says, no, he is not going to the river. And you're like, whoa, okay.
All right,
something about the river.
Lady.
Something about the river going on,
so
for
there
sure.
are two big foreshadows in the scene. Number one, the stepdad talking about, I have been tasked to keep him safe at all costs. And then number two, the mom talking about the river. Do we move forward? It's like one of those things. I'm confused if we should just.
All we learned from this scene is that the stepfather and the mom are out to get Jimmy back. They're going so far out is that they have now hired this new gentleman, Mr. Putnam.
Putnam,
the
that's
real
his name,
bad guy of the movie. This is. It's a shame I didn't have a picture ready for Putnam because, he really looks like a snidey kind of a guy. He's balded. He's got the glasses. He's just like, this is Mr. Putnam, and he retrieves runaways professionally. He finds kids and brings them back professionally.
Yeah.
Weird job. Does this job exist now, Dan? People just who retrieve kids?
I
But
bet
it feels
there
like it's
is.
more of a joyful experience. Like, we're looking to save these kids and get them back with their families, and it's all
joyful
wholesome.
experience.
This one, he's like, I'm looking for the money, so don't get in my fucking way. I'm getting your kid, I'm getting the mom, and I'm getting my paycheck.
No, so like right after, so we meet Bo Bridges and Christian Slater's character in this room. They have a big confrontation, blah, blah. Bo Bridges is like, I'm going to go find him, blah, blah, blah. And Christian Slater, they're all going to go leave him. And Mr. Putnam, the bounty hunter, as we'll call him, comes out, confronts. Now, this is the kid's dad. He confronts him, and he's like, you better not go look for your son, because I only get paid if I collect the kid. Savvy? What the fuck?
I know you care about your son,
This is fucking
but don't
dad.
get in my way. I'm going to find him for the money real quick. Yeah, it's crazy. So again, you're watching this as a kid probably.
So we
and
hate him.
You're just kind of like, Mr. Putnam, he is a snake. I don't like him.
I don't like him.
He's looking to grab
We want
Jimmy
bad
and
things to
take him
happen.
home. He doesn't want to go home. He wants to go off on adventure. That's all we know at this point.
California.
So now we know these kids are out on the run, and they got to be careful of Mr. Putnam and the people looking to hunt them down. It really is the feel there. And like you were alluding to, this is also the beginning of Sam and Nick Wood's adventure together, the father and son. This is, what is it? Bo and Christian Slater and their adventure together as a father and son.
There's those parallels.
Yeah,
Which is funny. Their relationship in this whole movie is not like father and son. It's like husband and wife.
It really is.
And there's like multiple scenes that are like would stereotypically be a husband and wife scene or a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And it's the father and son. Like in particular, the motel scene when they're in bed together and one is restless, one is sleeping, and Christian Slater is like turning on the light. And then it's all really, all this pent up, like, I can't sleep, blah, 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 is really bullshit to get around. Like, I have something I want to fight about right now. And so we're going to fight about it, you know? Like,
it's funny. And along in their journey together, of course, they grow a bond together. But along the way in their little landscaping truck that they take on this journey, it just so happens that Corey, their younger brother, Fred Savage, had left his Nintendo system in the back of the truck. So along the way, they pull out the Nintendo system and they start growing an attachment with these Nintendo games along the way. It's really funny. We'll get more into that
It's also
later.
like a beautiful Nintendo exact idea.
Exactly.
That it's like Nintendo is not just for little Jimmy and 12 and under. It's perfect for teenagers. It's perfect for dad. Any man in the family is going to love your Nintendo Entertainment System. It's portable. Take it anywhere. That's what, like, they pretend like people were just, like, taking Nintendos around. Like, they set it up at the motel. They set it up at the, where's the place?
It was a bus.
The mechanic.
No. Yeah, the mechanic.
The mechanic, they set it up. Like, and there's, like, a storage locker at one point. I don't even know what that has to do with anything, but there's, like, a storage locker that he's playing in a morning.
I know you're talking. That's when they're playing. Yeah, no, it is.
They're playing Zelda.
They're dealing with the car situation.
Is that the mechanic as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, there's one where he's inside the mechanic's office, and there's one where the dad is playing Zelda.
It's like after their car had been stripped or something, and they're like dealing with that
it's
situation.
a junkyard. It's a junkyard.
The
It's a
junkyard is
yeah.
what it was. Anyway, so they're learning about Nintendo games along the way, and they're having a lot of fun with it. And we'll be getting into more about that because some of the games they play, the terminology they use, the way they act is really funny to kind of discuss. But let's get back, Dan, to the main focus. You know, of course, we have Corey, we have Jimmy now. They have ran away in the Hostess truck, and we don't know what the hell's going on, where they're going, but they're looking to make their way to a bus station now. And this is where we actually get to see the first video game of the movie. They go into this bus station and, you know, their intentions are to get a ticket, hopefully with the money they have on them, which is like nothing, and start traveling. So,
especially now, I think it's like $6 or $8? It's like $6.87 or $8.67.
Yeah,
is how much that a ticket costs.
They're obviously going to be short on the money, but this, as a kid, you're watching it. Even as an adult, you're watching it for the nostalgia. It's just a nice little scene because you get to hear all these familiar sounds. Let's check out this scene actually, if we can.
Let's stay here for a minute. Well, go ahead. Play. Two tickets to California, please.
You got someplace specific in mind, or would you just like to be dumped at the border?
Is Los Angeles specific enough?
That's $226.
$200 to go to LA. But the big thing is that we are hearing
$226 to go to LA.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, so they're in Utah.
From Utah, yeah.
They're in Utah. I didn't realize that. Wait, what? Wait, it's $226 to go to LA? That's stupid.
That's pretty nutty.
That seems like really expensive and not accurate.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe at the time did they make up some arbitrary numbers so that the kids couldn't afford it or something? I don't really know. But the big thing, Dan, is that Double Dragon is being played. We're hearing the theme song. It sounds awesome. Jimmy gets his hands thrown onto the machine. He doesn't even know what an arcade system or gaming system is, but you get a kid who's so fascinated and quickly zero-focused and loves building. he just goes right in.
I guess he doesn't. No, he does know what it is.
Does he know what it is?
The NES is his that the dad's playing.
No, the NES is Corey's. So maybe he's played it with Corey, but we don't know if that's the case. He does say, I found Corey's Nintendo in the back of the truck. He does say Corey's Nintendo in the back of the truck.
You're listening.
It's Fred Savage's Nintendo system. We don't know whether or not Corey has played Nintendo with Jimmy before this, but he just introduces Jimmy, as far as we know, into Double Dragon at this point, and he starts playing while he's figuring out the ticket situation. We also see the girl. We see the girl.
There's so much shit in this scene.
What is happening? Who's that girl? Why does she care what's going on, and why is she there by herself? That's Haley, by the way. So we get to meet Haley for the first time.
Jenny Lewis is her real name.
Jenny Lewis. Okay.
Jenny Lewis. Haley.
She's quite the character.
Okay,
Dan.
she's fucking amazing. There's so many things about the scene. Okay, I'm just gonna
go in,
shit a bunch of information.
Do it.
Okay,
Dan.
number one, the bus stop in this movie is actually a mechanic shop in Nevada where they shot a lot of this stuff in a town which I'm suddenly forgetting. I think it's called like Fairbrook or Fairview or whatever. Tiny town, Nevada. It was a mechanic shop. They converted it into this bus stop. Because of this movie, the guys there actually get a bunch of jobs for films, photography, magazines, whatever, because that shop, and you can kind of tell in this scene, has a gigantic skylight over the main area in there. So it's tons of really good natural light. You're in Nevada. It's obviously going to be really good. Okay? That's number one.
So popular scene that's used. Okay.
Yeah. That location is used a lot in other movies and for other magazines. Number two, you have arcade machines at a bus stop.
Okay, yeah. I was going to get ready to go to this point. Arcade machines at this time are just existing, and they're existing everywhere. Nowadays, you can only find an arcade machine at an arcade machine, unless someone happens to own one or in some special case. Back in these days, arcade machines were just money. Like, people were dumping quarters into these.
They were everywhere.
Everybody wanted to have them. In this movie, I have a couple examples, too. Like, we saw they're at the bus stop. After this bus stop, they go to a diner, Dan, and there's one in the table.
It's in the table.
It's in the table.
I remember those, though, because the Pizza Huts, like, there was Pizza Huts that used to have those. All their tables used to have arcades in them. And then just all it made me remember when I was watching this was, wow, I missed that. Everywhere you used to go, there would be arcades. So you go to a restaurant, there would be an arcade in the corner. Maybe not like 10 machines. They might have one machine, you know. It was like, oh, that guy's got a pinball machine. Oh, that guy's got, Pong, whatever. This guy, Pac-Man, whatever. But everywhere you used to go back in the day, there would be arcade machines everywhere. And I feel like everybody fantasizes about arcades, right? These places that you'd go, your
play
Nickel
games.
Cities, your Super Just Games.
Because you had to go there to play the games, Dan. You didn't have all those systems.
But the
at home
reality
like
is
you
that
do
when they were
now.
popular, they were everywhere.
Yeah.
They were everywhere.
This was the big arcade.
Do you know the
big
first
boom.
arcade system?
First arcade system? I mean, I would imagine like Pong would be what I'd say.
You're correct.
But it is
You're
Pong.
correct. So the guys that made Pong, they built and wait, maybe I'm wrong about this. Hold on. I'm trying to remember this other podcast to listen to where they talked about it. But basically, they're very popular at the time. I'm not gonna pretend to remember what the hell I'm talking about. But they're everywhere, and I was so sad when I saw this because now it's like, it's a big deal to find somewhere to go and play on an arcade.
I have a lot of love for arcades. I talk about every day how I want an arcade here. I want to build an arcade. I had built an arcade. I had one, in my New York City apartment, tiny ass apartment. It broke my heart the day I had to break the thing apart.
Was it a full cabinet?
Full cabinet.
Oh,
I had found on Craigslist a full shelled cabinet that was emptied out. I filled it with a monitor, with an arcade panel, wired up the joysticks, wired up the buttons, and made it a full MAME machine. And I loved it. But
was it a MAME or was it like a
MAME.
dedicated?
I put a PC computer in there, and it just had all the games. I could play anything off the PC and all the emulators.
Describe to
and all
people
that
that
stuff.
don't know, what is a MAME? What does that mean? What's
Multiple arcade machine emulator, I believe, is what MAME stands for. And essentially, it's like, how you can get NES ROM, Super Nintendo, or NES emulators, Super Nintendo emulators. MAME is like the arcade emulator, and we know there's thousands of arcade games out there. So MAME encompasses all of those games, and you're able to play them on your PC.
So it's an all-in-one. You have one cabinet, but it can play any game you want.
I mean, give or take, there's a lot of arcade games that you need to have a spinner, or you need to have a fucking joystick, or all that stuff. So some arcade games you can't play, but essentially you could play a lot of them. But I love arcade games.
And that's New York City too. So you're like, wait, what?
It was like I couldn't
How'd
fit.
You get that in your apartment?
I couldn't fit in my apartment. A lot of credit to my good friend John, who helped me carry it up the 3-4 flights of stairs to get it up there. But when it came time, I was not carrying it back down those stairs again. We broke that thing apart. I kept all the internal guts and parts. I still have them now. I'm always itching to create another cabinet again. Yeah. But it was just part of the reason I love this movie, maybe even more now, is looking back and just seeing the love for the arcades again. And we see plenty of arcades.
Dude, I just want buttons and joysticks. Is that so bad?
The love for like getting the high scores too is also something that's just not quite there. And it's funny, we hear about high scores at that scene too. Jimmy plays that Double Dragon for Dan, what must have been like 30 seconds or so.
Maybe 30 seconds.
And somehow gets, according to Corey, Fred Savage character, 50,000 points.
Yeah, which first off, is that even a good score? I don't even know.
So I looked it up.
Did you look it up?
I looked it up.
Oh, yeah.
And according to recordsetter.com, Eric, you can put this up on the screen if you want the world to see, the world record for Double Dragon on Nintendo, because, Dan, we were talking about this before the show. That is a Nintendo version of Double Dragon, not the arcade version of Double Dragon.
That's a whole conversation to have.
The Nintendo version of Double Dragon high score is at 90,670. So if you mean to tell me that little Jimmy got over half of that score in 30 seconds time,
he must be pretty good.
Hey, look at that. It's an actual screen cap of Double Dragon
with
that the dude
system,
played. He played it off the actual Nintendo cartridge, and Jimmy in the movie was playing the Nintendo arcade cabinet version. There is Nintendo arcade cabinets.
Nintendo 10, I think it's called.
Yeah, and they have like some of the Nintendo games on an arcade cabinet, and he was playing the Double Dragon Nintendo. Yeah. Therefore, Jimmy boy, I do not think it is possible you could have scored 50,000 points in 30 seconds. So I will fault you on that a bit.
There's lots of problems. They also, I mean, in this scene, so first off, there are dozens of very long, extensive forum conversations of people arguing about this movie and all the inaccuracies.
Oh, that's funny.
Because there's tons. With the Nintendo stuff specifically, all these like Nintendo nerds are just like raging. So in that scene, I think he says, like, oh yeah, and he hasn't even lost any life, but they cut to the shot, and he's definitely lost life.
Okay.
So what I found out is, so Nintendo hired, they didn't hire. They had one guy that was their representative on set, and he also created every shot in this movie. So no gameplay in this movie is actually live footage. It is everything. Everything is pre-recorded.
So nothing we're seeing in the movie is stuff that Jimmy's playing.
No, nothing.
Dan,
not at any
you
point.
mean to tell me that all this time I have been not watching footage of the wizard?
But see, I mean, I assumed when I watched it that they're playing, and it's just like, whatever, they're playing.
Yeah.
But it's not just that. They're pre-recording everything. So even when they go to the Nintendo hotline, all that footage is pre-recorded. When the dad's playing, when Jimmy's playing, when the esports competition, every piece of Nintendo in-game footage or arcade footage otherwise, which there are several other arcade games, which is interesting. Nintendo funds this movie. It's basically a product placement for them, but there's tons of other games in it.
Yep.
Is all pre-recorded.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Fact. Good fact, Dan.
Hey.
Let's throw the clip here. I want to show Jimmy's first money match. Now, they just met Haley, and Haley, like, sniffs them out as they try to duck and hide from the cops, apparently, because they know that people are
fucking amazing. Are we talking about Haley right now?
Okay, so what, Dan, remind us, how does Haley introduce herself to Corey and Jimmy now when she finds them?
Okay, so we meet Haley. She's reading a Cosmo magazine at the bus stop.
She's so adult. She's so old.
Yeah, she's like a 40-year-old, 12-year-old. I don't know what's wrong with her, but she's way too adult for a year. Like, all these people, all their lines are written as if it was an adult reading them.
Yeah.
And so hers specifically, because she's supposed to be really street smart and really cool. So she, we saw her in that scene. She's reading the Cosmo. She overhears them. They sneak into the back. She interrupts them with one of my favorite lines of this movie, which is, "If you don't tell me what you're doing, I'm going to scream." Is that it? Is that
That
right?
is it. That is it. Tell me what you're doing, or I'm gonna scream.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, you're crazy. And it's funny because you notice right away they're like, this isn't like the cute girl next door, because a lot of the movies around then was about the cool girl next door that you couldn't hang out with, and because of circumstances, you're shoved into a situation with, and now you're getting, so like 16 Candles, any John Hughes movie. Okay, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, whatever.
Yeah.
Cool girl. This is not that. She is the crazy, weird girl with way too much spunk who is just like, it seems like her parents like gave her acid when she was 7 or something.
You know, kind of like almost on that note is like, have you seen the movie Little Giants?
Yes.
Icebox.
Icebox.
You know, I don't want to go as far as they're trying to create little Tommy girls or anything in these movies.
No, she's not a Tom girl.
But she's not a Tom girl. But it's not like she's any sort of a, God, this is awkward to say for this movie and a kid movie, but sex figure, or she's not like a crush. You don't look at this girl like, I don't know. Did you look at this girl as a kid and think she was
totally
hot?
the opposite.
I didn't. I didn't look at her and think she was hot. I thought she was just kind of like, you know, the more adult of everyone else there, trying to guide them.
So interesting and beyond me, and because she seems so older and cool and weird.
You were into Ginger's at a young boy age, wasn't it?
That's
Dan?
also a problem of mine. But like I don't know. There's something about that kind of crazy that is like really attractive. And okay, obviously these are kids, so this is hard to fucking have this conversation.
We're kids watching this.
I don't think she's a traditional like cute. I don't want to say sex symbol, but like love interest. But she very clearly
Idol,
becomes a love
teen idol
interest,
or something. Yeah,
and becomes idol. And I mean, she is probably my favorite character in this movie. I think she's super cool. I think they dressed her super cool. I loved all the like art direction around her costume design. Her glasses in that scene specifically always stood out to me. Everything she wears always. But what an enigma of a character. Why is this child sitting at a bus stop?
She gets
and
weirder
then
too,
she
Dan.
just jumps in and she's like, okay, I'm coming with you, bye.
Yeah,
We're
she
gonna hang out.
leeches right on to like, she sees these kids, she's like, what are they up to? And I got to be a part of it somehow.
What is she doing?
She was there already.
Why was she there?
She had a trip ticket, remember? Because there's a money match here, which we could probably air, and they don't have money to bet on this money match for Double Dragon. They bet a ticket. They bet her ticket. She was planning on going somewhere. So let's check this scene out so we can see a bit more of Dan's Ginger crush right now.
I love her. My God.
Well, that's okay, cause got a bus ticket. Could cash it in.
Let's see him beat that.
Little bitch.
Come on, Jimmy.
He's interested.
What is he, some kind of freak or something?
That's it.
Hey!
Don't take the same
You caught me!
I didn't. I won a bet.
So first gaming montage.
Oh, yeah.
Like Nintendo gaming montage in a movie for sure. Jimmy with the stone cold stare at her.
Oh, dude.
After like, oh, you think that's possible? He's just staring at her, and then he just does it, performs, and they win. First money match in movie.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It reminds me of FGC, right? Because it's like it's a money match. Like we're gonna play 1v1. Whoever wins for cash. And it's hilarious how the world stops for that game. Even the bus attendant's like, what are those kids doing? What's going on over there? He seems pretty crazy, you know. Like, I don't know. I love her though. I love her in this movie.
Yeah, she ends up being a part of the team. At that point, they miss the bus. They go to the diner. They see the diner arcade system there. And wouldn't you know it, Dan? You know, little Jimmy there, California. It becomes revealed that, you know, him and Corey are on their adventure to go to California. And wouldn't you believe it, Dan, that it just so happens that our friend Haley here knows that there's something special happening in California at that time.
What's going on?
It is Video Armageddon. Look at that.
Bum, bum.
You don't see ad placements like that in magazines anymore.
Mezzanines
anymore.
No.
$50,000.
$50K.
That's a lot. That's like a TI for back in 1980.
Dude, 89? Oh, we should have adjusted
dude.
for inflation. Eric, can you adjust $50,000 for inflation and let us know what that is? Okay.
I would be curious. That's got to be like 100,000 or something.
I bet
maybe.
it's okay. Let's guess. I'm guessing it's 128,346.
Whoa, that was oddly specific, but I can only ride your coattails on it. That was good. Okay, well, yeah, like 150. You know, I wouldn't say it's over 200, but it's got to be like 100,000 like now.
Yeah.
Universal Studios.
Another plug.
You know, another plug. Hit us up here at Universal Studios, where dreams come true. We're having a video game tournament. Everyone be there. It's for Nintendo. You see Nintendo on the screen. What does that font say? I don't even know anything that says up there. You know.
I don't
So
know
now,
do you know?
What is it, Eric? 100,100 and what? $79 or something like that. $110,000.
Wow. Okay, so I was way off, but I mean that's double. Still, that's okay.
If for 1989, $50,000.
Esports, guys.
Yeah,
this is the first esport movie.
2005. I don't think there was $50,000 gaming events. It's just
and it's crazy because it's like, okay, if you think about esports events now, it's one game, and that's it. This is
come
just
play
like,
Nintendo games and be the best.
Come play games. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you don't know what you're playing. These kids don't know what they're playing. They know it's a Nintendo event, and they're going to go. So this works out. So now they look at this now as kind of an opportunity. They can head out west together.
There's also this foreshadow in this. I'm going to interrupt you really quick.
Go for it.
In the diner, across the street is Sinclair gas station. Now, if you know anything about Sinclair gas station, their mascot is the Brontosaurus. Or wait, is that what the fuck it's called? The big neck
dinosaur?
The big neck guy?
I think so.
That's a Brontosaurus?
That works for me.
And later in the movie, they will go and see a Brontosaurus. But
interesting.
I know for a fact that Sinclair ad is a product placement as well.
Really?
Yes, and that was not originally there, and I think part of it is the foreshadowing, but as well as they got money to put that sign, pretend it was a gas station.
I'm watching this as a kid, Dan. I don't even know.
No, you're not thinking about any of this stuff.
Care.
None
but
of this stuff exists.
They're putting a lot of effort into that kind of stuff. Do you think too much effort at that point?
No way, absolutely not.
It just has to be done.
That is just part of it. It's like, think about anything you do. So this movie made me really think about branding and about branding, sponsorship, and product placement, because it's very effortless in how it does it, and at the same time very in your face with a lot of it. And I think nowadays we're so much more aware of this that we see it a lot, but then you didn't even notice, and it didn't detract from the product. And they were very good at not being like super over the top. Like, I was watching an episode of The Tick last night, and there was a vitamin water plug in it that was just like obnoxious. Like,
really?
The guy was sitting there holding the vitamin water like this as he's having a conversation, and then takes a sip.
Let me make sure the label's out the whole time, though.
Yeah, it's like,
do you
it wasn't the same.
It fizz in my mouth right now?
It wasn't, and so I when I researched this, I looked about it, and they were talking about it because it was one of the big first tie-ins where a movie and a game or whatever, like there was a movie being made about a product, basically.
Yeah.
And it opened the floodgates, really, in the future to what we have now, which is very, very normal. But this was one of the first movies where they really started just shoving a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah, it keeps coming, too. It definitely just, the more you watch it and look back and just view it as what it is, it's a big Nintendo commercial,
Well, and
really.
when it first came out, that's why it actually was a huge flop. So if you look at this movie, they spent $6 million. I think it made about $14 million. Sure, they made their money, but you have the biggest child star of all time. You have a Nintendo Entertainment System, which is absolutely the coolest thing on the block, period. They expected and forecasted this movie to make a lot more money. And when you're shoving all these other things in there, you expect a lot. It did terribly. And I think people were very turned off by the idea of it being a super product placement movie. Whereas now it's become this super cult classic.
Yep. I can't believe how many people had not seen it, Dan. I thought it was just something we all saw as kids. I don't know.
I feel like a lot of people have seen it. I mean, I guess for my family, it was a big deal. When I told my family I was going to be doing this podcast about The Wizard, they were all like, California!
Oh, shout outs to Dan's family for listening. Shout outs to everybody.
Yeah, they're into it. For me, it was a big part of my childhood was this movie. I watched it at my grandma's house. I'm going to guess probably 91, 92 on VHS. I would say a 13-inch TV, maybe a 13-inch, you know? It was like just this little thing that she had. But she had cable, and she had a VHS player, which was really cool.
I know I had like the VHS cassette. It was in like the plastic one where you had to squeeze for it to pop out through the bottom. Like that was nice. I think it was because my mom like took it away from Rayleigh's in their video rental center. She just gave it to me because I wanted to watch it so many times.
So there's multiple VHS containers that I can think of. So there's that one that you're talking about. There's the regular sliding plastic ones, and then there's like the
the plastic
pop open ones. You know,
God damn.
Oh man,
didn't have too many of those, but
those were like Disney made those only. You know, it was like you had to have a big company behind you to make those.
Oh yeah, for sure. So back to the story here. Now we have Haley as a part of the team. She says we can go and we can compete in this tournament. All right, so it's a win for everybody because they get to go to California for whatever Jimmy wants. We don't know why he wants to go to California, but he gets to go there. He can compete in this tournament, and he's really good. So maybe if he does well, it will show everybody like, hey, he's not some freak mutant basket case handicap. He's a very talented individual. You know, and hopefully that all that idea of putting him in an institution will be tossed away because he's a video game champion. So,
is that why they're doing it?
I mean, it's a little bit of all that.
I feel like Corey is just trying to help his brother, and he doesn't know how.
He doesn't know what they're going for. He just wants to take him to California.
Get you there, you little weirdo.
But, you know, Haley addresses him at this moment like, you must, do you think you're so smart? Like, you're taking your brother away from everything with $20 and you don't even know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, she really challenges him.
So Haley shows up and she challenges him, but this is what she's got going for her. I know truckers. My dad's a trucker. Yeah. My mom's a showgirl. And I know all the truckers and I know their codes. So they hitchhike, Dan. Kids hitchhiking trucker adventure.
Yeah.
Which is just fine. Now, Dan, I'm getting older. I understand this. I'm getting a bit older. My maternal instincts may be kicking in a bit, but I watch a movie now about kids running away from home, and it's totally cool and jolly of a time for them to hitchhike down the road with random strangers. I feel a bit weird about it.
But even then, hitchhiking was very cool. Like, I remember being a kid and being like, I'm going to hitchhike, like you wanted to. And then there just, like, became a time where it was like, you will be killed.
Yeah. It suddenly was like, then they came out with a bunch of horror movies probably where it's like hitchhikers get killed. Yeah, that's true. Let's not hitchhike. But back then, kids are hitchhiking. Truckers are picking them up. In one of the scenes here, they get picked up by who they assume is some of her, like, you know, trucker bros. And they're in the back of the truck. Yeah. Dan, no seatbelts or nothing. Back of the truck, shuffle around some money. The dudes end up mugging the kids and leaving them on the side of the road.
Oh, my God. Wait, I forgot about that part. Yeah, you're right.
They mug the kids of their money and then leave them on the side of the road. The dudes who pick them up in the first place, throw them in the back of the truck, mug them, put them... the logic is just crazy at this point, but the kids are hitchhiking through the states somehow.
There's a lot of things that happen that are really plot hole thick. But there's something...
But it's adventure, Dan. And like the trailer said, a whole lot of trouble. You know, like the trailer says, Dan, a whole lot of trouble. Yeah, hitchhiking through and getting mugged.
It's funny that Haley, we realized during this, like the first night they spend out, we realize that she's a chronic liar. And that like this big character reveal happens where she's saying all this shit about her life, her family, they have a big house, they're super happy, blah, blah, blah. And then Corey makes a comment when they're sleeping about friends. And she's like, I got tons of friends. What do you mean? I got too many. I don't have time around my friend. And you realize, and it's like actually a great job of her acting where before she's lying and we don't really know. And now we know, oh shit, we can't trust anything she says. She's a liar or a con or whatever.
So we're learning that this girl, it's kind of shady. You know, she's got some trucker thing with code going on. She's obviously putting up a little bit of a front, but she's somehow captivated with these kids and they're going on this adventure together. It's nutty. Let's step away from that parallel story. Let's go back to the father and son who are now in their truck driving along, trying to find Jimmy, trying to find their kids, and playing Nintendo games. Because I want to give them a shout out, Dan. Now, and this goes along with what you were saying before, that all the Nintendo gaming footage was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
The dad's video game acting is pretty damn good, Dan. Look, we got to check out the dad's video game acting here because he's got it, and they actually get some of the terminology correct, too, for what he has to say.
They do.
Oh, shit. What the hell are you doing? I don't believe this. I got the scroll weapon, and I almost beat Mecha Turtle at the end of level 3. You got the scroll weapon. Yeah. I'm losing his mind. Oh.
There is scrolls in the game. I don't know if it's specifically a scroll weapon, but there is a Mecha Turtle on World 3. So they had that correct. I looked it up.
I'll tell you what's wrong in that right now.
What's wrong in that right now?
The music. The music is wrong.
Really?
That is the music when you're walking above ground.
Yes.
Not when you're underground in the sewers.
Ah, Pixel Peeper over here.
Pixel Peeper. There are a ton. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I love how he's out of breath.
Well, he's like a crackhead. He's like, it's amazing because they, at this point, I feel like dip into the future of what PC gamers are doing. How many times have you stayed up all night doing something really dumb, some grind, some achievement you wanted to get, and God, for probably the first 3 to 4 years of me and Kelly's relationship, it was her waking up to go to work and I'm still up gaming looking like that. It was like that exact scene for me over and over and over again, and I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to get, I got one more game, and then
there's
I'm going,
a new ladder, babe. I got to get to the top real quick. There's one more scene actually with the dad axe I want to, because there's another like obvious like
the Zelda
error.
One.
Yeah, the Zelda one. Let's
let's jump to that real quick, and then we get it.
I'm in the 6th Palace of Hyrule. Yeah! I got past the River Devil. Terrific. What the hell are you doing? I had the magic key. I got the cross. I was closing in on the barbarian. You're losing it, Pop. Just kidding.
What is he doing? He was closing in on the barbarian, Dan. He was closing in on the barbarian.
Christian Slater is so cool in that scene. He looks so fucking awesome.
He's so cool. He can unplug a Nintendo from the front with the controller, Dan.
Yeah, that's how it works. Duh. Yeah, who cares about the component cables?
For podcast listeners who can't watch the scene, he like rips out the controller from the front and the whole thing goes to static. So, just for dramatic movie effect. There is a River Devil, though.
But it doesn't come till... Wait, it's the wrong timing, isn't it?
It's definitely the wrong time. Like, they obviously just gave him an accurate enemy in the game and told him to say it. But, props to saying River Devil, I guess.
The Barbarian is actually... There's a is like a Barba Queen or something.
Okay.
That's another boss.
I think
they gave him... So there's another boss. I think it's called the Barba Queen or some shit like that. And I think they gave him that, and he just said Barbarian, but the delivery is so good, it doesn't matter.
The Barbarian.
Yeah. The Barbarian. I mean, he's amazing.
Shout out to him. He owned it, man.
There's lots of stuff like that.
He has more conviction in those gaming acting scenes than he did in any other scenes. The scenes about Jimmy going to institution, he had more passion with the gaming.
He gets it though. Like, I don't know. Did they just tell him you're like a crack addict? Like, because it feels so accurate, but in a way that people try to portray now, and it comes off as like clowny or like I don't know, like making fun of gamers in a way. Where this is like, I relate to that.
At first, it's funny because before he starts to play the games, and it's the older brother, Christian Slater playing, he makes a comment about how, so you must be mindless to be able to play this. Like, he made a hint like, you must not be smart to be able to play this game.
Yeah.
And then he ends up playing himself, and Nintendo's able to get in like, the family can play it, the dad can play it, and he's having a good time too. But
son.
that mild gaming stereotype was just planted there, just briefly.
Right, which is so early, and it's crazy to see how prevalent that is forever and continues to be in gaming. Like, I guess, a lot of it is real. like it's pretty accurate in some ways, but also it's a minority, I would say, that are like that all the time.
So short on money, these kids continue their adventure to California, and their best chance of being able to make some money, Dan, is to probably use Jimmy and his amazing Nintendo skills to swindle some people.
They're hustling. They're straight hustling
some people, yeah.
And Corey is like the slimy manager trying to get the most out of it, and Haley's this like street smart swindler. I also like to think of them as the manager and the coach. Okay, they are the modern version of this would be the manager and the coach and the player.
Yep.
It's like Corey is the manager, Haley is the coach. She's like a blitz. She's like a emotional coach.
Okay, okay.
But she brings strategy. She has game knowledge.
Yeah.
You trust her opinion because she's been places. She sees things. But they're going across the country just like, It reminds me of like boxing managers. The way he's acting is
gaining
ridiculous.
Experience. Making some money. Jimmy doesn't care about the money at all.
No.
He just wants to go to California. He just wants to go to California, and he happens to kind of enjoy playing these games along the way. I do have a clip, but I think I'm going to pass on it because we're kind of slugging along a bit.
I feel like where are we? How long, Eric? How long have we been going?
How long have we been going already? Holy crap, we gotta go. So they play against adults. They're making lots of money. They're playing against businessmen making money, and Jimmy is actually smiling. Like, so you're starting to learn that he's breaking out of his shell. He's having fun doing it. So they're moving on forward. I will say though, a special shout out to "Send Me an Angel," the song, the montage.
My God.
This movie uses it. There's some other movies that use "Send Me an Angel" as a montage, and I don't think this movie uses it best. It's like a
no,
not at all.
No, okay.
You can roll. We have a clip, but we have no audio, so we can just roll the clip so the people who happen to be tuning in to watch this live can just see some of the footage.
Yeah, we can just put it back here and keep talking
of what they show. But it's really just a travel montage at this point.
It's ridiculous because this is the only time in the movie.
Oh yeah, well, by the way, but it starts with them getting picked up by a random biker gang, Dan.
Which is cool, dude.
They're just sitting there watching and figuring out what it is they have to do for their next step, and some bikers roll up. And, you know, like you do, hop on some bikers and just roll out with them, Dan. Your kids.
Yeah, well,
your kids.
If you're a kid, you're really hyped for this. I mean, this whole sequence is... So there's lots of things to talk about in the sequence. Number one, "Send Me an Angel." "Send Me an Angel," an amazing song. If you've ever seen Rad. What's the other movie it's in? There's another one.
It's also in Teen Wolf 2.
Teen Wolf 2.
The second Teen Wolf movie.
Okay. So... Rad has probably the greatest sequence I've ever seen in my entire life. I love this shot. This shot I fucking just, that's amazing.
It's
this
the kid sitting, holding up a sign that they want to go to Reno.
She's like a little Mary Sue in this. She's got the fucking little plaid shirt, all that stuff. But the Rad, which maybe we'll have to do a movie about, is a prom dance scene on bicycles.
And I think they use the song the best.
That's the best ever.
They use it the best.
This feels out of place.
This is just like, we want to play this epic song, which they could have easily used later in the movie, earlier in the movie, but they use it at this point in the movie. The kids are fucking walking down the road, Dan, for like 20 seconds to "Send Me an Angel."
This sequence in particular, interesting part. So I think a big interesting part about this movie is location. And this sequence is one that really is a big part of why they chose where they shot. So the majority of this stuff is shot. Oh wait, that scene right there. This right here. Are you going to talk about this?
When he finds the doubles?
No, the doubles.
He finds the doubles. These are obviously got to be the actual stunt doubles for the kids, and it is revealed wearing the jacket. The jacket's standing out obnoxiously in this scene. And it's not till later that they actually receive that jacket. So that's a bit of a awkward pixel peeper.
Okay, so they were able to shoot this sequence all in Nevada. They drove around the state for a day, and they shot all this stuff. Everything was just shot in Nevada, and that was one of the big selling points of the Nevada Film Council was, guess what? You can be in the northern part, you can be in the southern part, and it's totally different planets. So you can have all these things happen all in one state, do work with us, and you can get it all done. So for them, that was a big part of why they shot Nevada. Obviously, it's a beautiful backdrop. There's later scenes where they're alone in this like sunsets happening when they finally get to kiss, and it's like gorgeous, and that's only really possible in a big western state to have a backdrop like that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks nice. It's gorgeous. I don't know. It doesn't beat a BMX dance off is really what it is from Rad.
It's
so
weird.
I give him on that one.
And they play the whole song. There's other songs in this movie that they have. They play the entire song, and it is a long sequence.
I felt like I went on the full trip with them, Dan. It was a long one, and there were parts where I was just kind of like, I could take a nap right now, you know? So I guess they really wanted to go for that. But then after this, we get to meet our next big character of the movie.
Oh my God. I can't believe we only are now getting Dan.
I know. This is a long podcast, Dan. But the kids finally get to meet Lucas. So that starts by them, of course, continuing their adventure, swindling people. Here they swindle these henchmen, these
super
bullies.
These are super bullies.
These are mega bullies right now. But, you know, Jimmy beats him down, of course. And after this, a nearby kid who's watching says, oh, yeah, your kid's good. Jimmy, he's pretty good, but he ain't better than Lucas. Lucas, he's the man.
Yeah. Oh
Look at Lucas. God. We got to show Lucas. Lucas is the man. Look at Lucas. Look at that man. He's got the shades. He's got the hair.
It's outrageous.
He is the pro of this movie.
You guys can't see this guy right now. He looks like every 80s hot, pretty fuckboy little kid where you both want to be him and hate him and never want to see him in real life.
Yeah.
He's got amazing Ray-Ban shades. His hair is greased back. It's like long.
He's got a
unkempt, but
posse
cool.
who do anything he says. They'll pull his glasses away. They'll pull out his Nintendo games for him.
Pull out his dick.
So sure enough, of course, they get dragged along to be able to face Lucas here. And
This
Lucas,
is probably the most iconic scene in the entire movie.
he's awesome. He's cool, like we said. He's got the hair. He knows all 97 games, Dan. They say that number a couple of times just so Nintendo know there's like 97
What's
Nintendo
funny is that
games
is
in
very
this movie.
incorrect, actually. At the time, there were over 600 games.
Oh, okay then.
Just an FYI.
Well, Nintendo only wants you to know about 97
I don't know. I feel like
games,
that's a weird thing, right? Where you figure they'd say way more, but they only said 97. But at the time, there's over 600.
Maybe only Western state releases or something.
Maybe there might be something weird about it. There's also interesting in this scene is that Lucas actually has heard of the kid. He's heard of the wizard. The whole
He's heard
gang
of the
has,
wizard.
has heard of it.
Yeah,
Like,
so the name's getting out there.
Traveling myth.
And this is
that's going
before
on.
social media, internet, obviously, and all that. But
It's
the
like
word's
a guy
getting
that
out.
plays a bunch of Smash Brother locals and then like ends up in your town. You know.
Now we're gonna have to check out this scene. It's a very iconic scene. A nice iconic piece of Nintendo product going to be displayed. Let's go ahead and check out Lucas in his raw form right now.
What is that? I don't know.
Power glove.
Yeah.
Wait, whoa.
I mean, I thought I kept the whole thing, but I did essentially want to skim through. So he goes in and ends up playing, what is that, Rad Racer?
Are we not gonna play the best line of this fucking movie?
And then I realized that maybe the line is not going to be there at the end.
Okay, all right.
So we might not
First
have
off,
the clip of the line. But
Hold on.
after that point, he starts playing Rad Racer, Dan, with the Power Glove.
Whatever, dude. This is the most important parts about this scene, okay, is the Power Glove and the line.
Okay.
Right?
Hit me with the line, Dan.
I don't want Eric, I want you to get
It's probably on YouTube. Or he has it here. Okay, let's play it.
Okay.
Oh, we're gonna get
all right,
audio
so
on it. Well, you don't have to show the whole gaming footage.
No,
But if
no.
you just skim through that part and get to when he just pretty much is showcasing how he plays Rad Racer.
This was like
awesome,
in
you know?
2006, okay, when 90s chic was very in, and like people were wearing gold Nintendo controllers around their necks, and Power Gloves were like fashionable. This line became absolutely imprinted in popular culture as the most ridiculous and amazing line. So the line is, the Power Glove, it's so bad. And like his delivery is, he's the only person in the world that could have ever fucking delivered that line.
It's like, I think it's, I love the Power Glove.
Oh, I love the Power Glove.
It's so bad.
On top of that, so I have a little clip from this.
Because what you take from that, and I see that as a kid, is like, this is the ultimate piece of hardware.
Yeah.
He puts it on. It's got a fucking briefcase, a special like nuclear warhead briefcase that his posse and henchmen bring up for him. They plug it in for him. He puts it on, and Dan, it makes these sweet noises. According to the movie, it makes this beep boop beep boop boop, and I'm like, I gotta have this now, Dan. I have to have
It's
this.
so crazy. So okay, I read about this. Apparently, so this hadn't come out yet when the movie. This was the first time when the movie came out. The Power Glove still hadn't been released. So when they put it in the movie, it was a really big deal. They had to have a Nintendo guy on set. He had to be holding it the entire time unless it was being shot. They had oversight of how the scene was lit to make sure it was looking exactly how Nintendo wanted it to look.
Whoa.
Because nobody had seen it. Nobody had done anything. It's also our first, like, oh, God.
Bless you,
I
sir.
sneezed. I'm sorry. This is our first look at motion controls, right? Like,
Yeah.
And I don't even remember, did the Power Glove really do that? Did it really do that? I don't remember.
I never owned one, Dan. I wasn't cool enough.
I definitely didn't have one.
I
Those
wanted
things are like
one,
$90.
but I do remember people talking about how it didn't work that good.
No.
It was not that cool.
You can't, like,
it didn't sound like that. It didn't work like that.
No.
But they did a damn good job making me want to have
Dude,
one.
it's so epic. It's like some badass cyberpunk crazy shit. Like, that's the stuff we want and we imagine as we're kids. Like, this is post.
I want to be a
light
robot.
Gun, you know?
Yeah.
You want a light gun. You want a fucking arm thing.
I want to be a space shooter, robot. I want to be in the video game, so I want boop, 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 shooting. I want all that stuff. So that's what we want as
on
kids.
an audio pixel peep, really quick, I want to jump into, Eric. So something I noticed only on this last view of this is that the noise in this movie, some sound editor had a fun time making the noises the exact same as the iconic tone of Close Encounters, the Steven Spielberg movie, which came out 10 years prior, 1977.
Really?
So, all right, first...
The beeps that he hits when he touches the glove?
Yeah, hold on. Can we play the glove or whatever? You got this one up first. I'd rather play whatever. Play whatever you got up.
And then play the other?
And then play the
I
other.
want to hear. I want to hear.
So this is Close Encounters.
All right, well, we do not have sound at the moment.
All right, so right now we're trying to make the sound work. We can get back to it once Eric figures it out.
My mind is blown. So they just...
It's crazy. Well, I mean, that's just
Well,
something
did it
that, like-
make even...
Holy, oh, dear God. Okay, all right, go back, Eric. Stop using that. Use the controls like a human. All right, we're having technical difficulties. We're going to skip that part. Basically, that kind of stuff that gets put into movies is the cute little touches. Audio stuff, there are a couple famous things
Like
that
the
get put into a
Wilhelm
bunch
scream.
of movies. The scream.
The
That's
Wilhelm
obviously.
scream.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's one
yeah.
of those things where once you hear it, you always hear it. You know it.
Yeah.
You know to look for it. And
Okay.
sound designers and editors.
I know the Power
they
Glove
sneak
didn't
stuff.
sound like that.
No.
It didn't sound like a cool beep boop beep. It probably didn't have any sound at all, but they made it sound super cool. They made Logan look super cool.
No, he's fucking epic.
And you know,
Let's jump forward a little bit.
so he quickly shows how cool he is. Then that funny line where Fred Savage or Corey grabs him and says, "We better not put a power glove on her." Suddenly,
Yeah,
Jimmy
yeah.
is like, not about this, and Jimmy ducks out. He doesn't want to play him.
He's for the first time challenged.
But Dan, the
scared.
funny thing is, I rewatched this, and you learn that it may not be because he's scared to play Logan. It may be because he is jealous or just not comfortable with the situation of Corey with Haley.
What?
Because in the following up scene, when they kind of try to hash it out, you hear Haley go off on a bit of a tangent about how he may be jealous of me. And at first when I heard that, I'm kind of like, what is he talking about? But sure enough, when you go back to watch that scene, and when Corey puts his arm around Haley, like, well, as long as you keep your gloves off of her, Jimmy looks at them like, what's going on between you two? And he's just like not really about the situation at all. And
Wait,
leaves.
so it's not about Lucas, it's about his brother?
It may not be about playing Lucas. It may be about the fact that this is no longer about, you know, Corey and Jimmy being together as a type on moving forward. But now Corey's found some girl, and he's just using Jimmy to play games.
This movie, first off, every character is fucked up in this movie. There's so much stuff going on, and there's so many secret things like that.
If you go back
never
and
know.
watch, I went back and watched it, and Jimmy looks at the two of them. He looks at the girl and is just kind of like, no, thank you, and leaves. He's not like looking scared. It's not like he's scared to play Lucas.
It's not about Lucas.
He's just like, I don't want to be your pawn just to make money to go to California. He's like, I thought we were doing this because, you know, as a family, we're going on this adventure. But he was getting the impression, whether Corey intended to or not, Corey was given the impression that he and this girl are starting to become a thing, and he doesn't really care about Jimmy. It's crazy.
Have they kissed at that point?
They then move on from that point to continue their adventure, Dan. At this point, the truckers are starting to get involved, and they're gambling for the kids now, too. They find
Yeah.
Spanky.
There's a gambling scene. So there's an entire scene in a Reno casino where they're trying to make money. So they have Spanky, who is Haley's dad's friend, presumably, bet for them, and she is yelling at him directions of how to bet, that's how street smart she is that she knows how to play one of the most complicated games, craps. They're playing craps, and she is calling, Bet the line.
Dan, I don't even know how to play craps. I don't know. I don't know how to play craps. Not that I gamble a whole lot, but okay, so this girl, just to add on to her whole dirty closet of her mom being a showgirl, her dad being a trucker, she knows all the truckers, she knows the code, she's sleeping in trucks all day long, whatever's going on there, she knows how to gamble, she knows how to play craps. It's ridiculous. She's something to make money.
This was another thing that was actually a big controversy when shooting, and it delayed them a little bit. So they show up to shoot at the casino. They've been shooting some stuff there already, and then they're going to shoot this scene. They're in Reno, and one of the mob bosses, which is the guy that runs the floor, sees them doing this and is like, whoa, I don't think you guys can do that. And then they had to go all the way up to the Nevada State Gaming Commission to get clearance to have the kid yelling, because it's illegal for a child to be in a casino like that, and it's definitely illegal for them to be gambling, and it's definitely also illegal for them to be even telling somebody how to gamble and gambling through other people.
And in this scene, they are yelling to Spanky.
Directly.
Spanky's clearly listening
Spanky's looks like he's like mentally challenged.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's clearly just taking their orders and doing the craps game.
Yeah, and so that had to be cleared in order for that scene to shoot by the Nevada State Gaming Commission, which ultimately did get cleared and it was fine.
It's crazy. But they need to make money somehow, Dan, and they're looking to truck on forward because now we are going to be quickly learning that this adventure means a whole lot more to Jimmy than we ever suspected. Now, we saw from that opening scene he'd been walking down the road with that lunchbox, Dan. He's been on this adventure, and he's had this lunchbox with him the whole way, and you're just kind of like, it's a lunchbox, that's weird, is there food in it? What's going on?
Yeah.
We begin to find out what's in the lunchbox. Now, there's a scene where the bullies that they had swindled earlier confront them. Very intense bullying scene for a kid's movie.
Really
They're
intense.
rolling up in trucks.
Yeah.
They throw the kids on the ground.
You think they're going to kill him.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's hyper-bullying in this movie. Anyways, they want to know what's in the lunchbox. They dump it out, and we are soon to find out who Jennifer actually is.
Oh, my God.
From way earlier in the movie, when Christian Slater's character says, ever since Jennifer.
Callback.
We finally know who Jennifer is. Now, Jennifer is the twin sister to Jimmy, and it is awful. We learn that Jimmy and Jennifer were together. They were by the river hanging out. It was actually Christian Slater's character, I keep forgetting the name now, something Woods, was supposed to be watching them. Yeah. And Jennifer had unfortunately somehow got into the water and had drowned Dan right in front of Jimmy. Drowned, dead, right in front of Jimmy.
Dude, this side swipes you in the middle of this feel-good adventure.
All being told by Corey, Fred Savage character, explaining this to Haley on who this person is. Who's this girl? Oh, by the way, that's Jennifer, Jimmy's twin sister. She happened to die in the river in front of Jimmy.
Yeah.
That might be why he's so messed up now, by the way.
By the way.
So then you're suddenly thinking back to the beginning of the movie, and all the adults like, there's something wrong with this kid. I don't know what it is, but he's mentally... hello? He watched his twin sister die in the river. Maybe he might be messed up from that?
Which is crazy. And then you realize also that's why Christian Slater and Bo, the dad character... they don't get along for this whole movie. And there's just like, when you rewatch and you understand that, you realize, oh, part of this is about them bonding as well and figuring out each other, because in the beginning of the movie, they fight. They fight a lot. They fight in the opening scene in the kitchen. They fight even, we hear them fighting when we pull up to the house later. They get into it. And then when they're on this vacation, they don't want to be together because there must be some deep pent animosity from Bo towards Christian Slater character, because he did not like his stepmom, okay? Yeah. And so he did not watch the kids when they went to the river.
Nope.
And then one died. So this is really fucked up. So this is like, okay, so Jimmy's backstory is he is the twin child of a second marriage whose twin sister died, and then his family, it's already the second, they divorce, and now he is the half-brother of a twice-divorced stepson. It's like.
But by the way, guys, high score, Double Dragon. This kid can play Nintendo like a boss.
50K,
all right,
30 seconds.
It's ridiculous. You start to learn real quick why the kid is the way he is. It's obviously extremely traumatic. I didn't remember this watching as a kid, though, Dan. I don't think anyone out there as a kid watched this movie and remembered that his twin sister died in a river. That was for the adult audience to take in. The kids, I did not.
Dude, that's super dark.
I did not even know. They just put that. They snuck that into the movie just like that. And then if it was a real serious movie, I know that this movie's not meant to be taken as a drama, but you would imagine that Christian Slater's character would obviously be a lot more remorse, maybe a lot more just fucked up knowing that these kids died under his watch.
Christian Slater seems really happy-go-lucky, silly for a guy that accidentally killed his stepsister.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Let's hop out of the dark wormhole here and move forward because these kids are trucking on, Dan. They're looking to go to Video Armageddon. They can't do it, though, unless they get better and they get help and guidance from a Nintendo call center, Dan. You don't see these anymore. I want to watch this clip of a Nintendo call center, which used to exist back in the day. You're not going to see these, though, ever again. It's really funny.
It's amazing. Nintendo call centers used to be on the back of every box. You had the number. It was like 100 Nintendo or something, Yeah,
if you ever were like stuck in a spot, you were not able to just kind of fire up the computer or look up on Google and get the answers from other. You'd have to call someone who had hopefully played the game before and was able to do it. Do we have let's play it.
7, let me get my phone.
Hi, this is Karen, your Nintendo gameplay counselor.
What is that baby? Look at that in the background. What is that baby? Did you see that? All recordings. Everything on the video screens are all recordings.
There you go, updates.
They're going through an office right now.
Nintendo game playing. This is Rick. How can I help you?
Hi, my name is Haley, and I've got a wizard who's going all the way to the championships in Los Angeles.
Is that so?
All I need is a little help. Okay, let's start with Simon's Quest.
Okay, now where exactly are you in the game?
Candy bars, bubblegum, licorice. Hey, babe. And keep the change.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Hold on. Okay, just a casual. So if you're listening at home, we're watching a scene where, of course, they're calling into the Nintendo Center and getting all these powerful tips to help out Jimmy as he learns all these 90-some-odd Nintendo games for the Video Armageddon. They're in Las Vegas, or Reno. Sorry, they're in Reno. Yeah. There's arcade setups everywhere. And now with some money on the hand, we see Corey, little Fred Savage, walking around Walton and wearing sunglasses, coming across. We got to be an underage casino worker, Dan.
9-year-old cocktail waitress.
Some like 12-year-old cocktail waitress at a Reno casino.
Instead of cigarettes and cigars and lighters and whatever, she has like candy, but she's like still dressed the same as like a Vegas like a cocktail, or what do they call it? Like smoke girls, like who walk around with the trays of stuff. It's the most ridiculous scene.
Don't think that's legal in any sort of way at all.
Yeah, she's working too. She's she's literally 9-year-old. Working in a casino.
Quite ridiculous, but
probably one of the more fun little shots, though.
Yeah,
you can only really get away with it.
It's quite silly.
It's also interesting to see, again, in the esports way, they train for this like you would train for Jeopardy, where you train for every single possible thing you would be confronted with, instead of just like playing Dota, playing Counter-Strike, whatever.
I don't think you can really have those kind of like esports marathon kind of tournaments now. Or, just prepare for anything of the bazillions of gaming titles that are out there and available to you. So at this point, because I'm going to try to skim through this, I wanted to go in a bit more detail on some of this stuff, guys, but this is a long podcast. But along the way, Putnam shows up, grabs them for a bit. They're able to use their trucker friends to get out of yet another piece of trouble. And they do manage to finally make their way, Dan, to the
Can I interrupt you very rudely?
Go. No, do it. You hit me
There
right
is
now.
one thing I want to talk about because I think it's really interesting.
Okay.
So this movie had a scene with Putnam where he's tracking him down at the beach. Okay? And we were laughing hysterically when we watched this. And I had no idea what the hell was going on. It took me out of the movie so much. But there is a sequence where they open on the beach, okay, and you see a bunch of cute bikini girls walking around on the beach. Ooh, super 80s hair, super 80s cut on all their stuff.
Okay, cool.
Okay, and then we go to Putnam, and he's at I don't know, some like food stand. All right, and then sitting next to him is this old man who is checking him out wearing a Speedo, and it is so distracting. Here it is, okay? All right, so you open with this really cute girl, and then you cut to this
Putnam.
old man and Putnam, and it's so insane. And so what I realized when I was
You
going
look at
through
Putnam, and it's gross.
Dude, I mean, well, okay, so this is, there is a film technique, and I didn't really realize this, to be honest, until I went in and started researching it, the movie, and was looking through stuff, and there was a conversation about, there's a term called fan disservice, okay? So you know fan service, right?
Yes, of course.
When you put something into a movie specifically for fans, and it's only there to make them happy. Fan disservice is the opposite, where you put something in a movie with the sole purpose of making the person watching feel uncomfortable or throw them off or disgusted. So for example, it's like showing, so like for this, it's like hot girls, hot butts, and then suddenly old man naked butts. So it's like people that shouldn't be naked being naked. It's like really disgusting, like showing like a really beautiful woman and then showing like a pussing blood thing squirt out. It's done a lot in horror movies, but it was just really cool to see that put in here. It's something that's talked about at film school a lot. Fan disservice, and they did a really I feel like this is something that happened magically in the shoot.
It looks magical, Dan.
And then in the edit, they did this because it made them laugh. Like it's such a contrast. It's really it's hilarious. So
for those of you just listening through the audio channels only, you're okay. You're doing good there because we're looking at an old man here wrinkled out in his Speedo.
Wrinkly Speedo man.
And yeah, it feels like that. If not that, like some sort of subliminal messaging that when I look over to Putnam, it's gross. Like anything with Putnam is gross.
Yeah, okay, we can move forward. I just want to touch on the next thing. It's fun.
Let's go. They make it to Video Armageddon. Let's check out what Video Armageddon is. Boom. The first big tournament, the esports location, the hot spot, the place to be. We can just roll this clip actually of the start of Video Armageddon. We can let the beginning play when it's all hype, and then we'll just start talking over it a bit because then we just really get into it, Dan. We don't know what we're getting into, but this is
esports, guys.
This is the exciting part of the movie. You know, this is where the video games happen, the best go to play, and as kids, you're just wondering what the hell is it going to look like? What's it really going to be all about?
Look at this.
All right. I don't know if we're heard. You can mute it now if you would like, but we're coming into a scene now. They're playing pools. We see Lucas there. Like he had told them he was going to be there to play. He's there now playing.
Rocking that Vision streetwear. You
know, we don't know what the rules are of this tournament. They're each playing some sort of video game on a timer. But I got to say, Dan, there's a lot of women there.
There's
a lot of women there. Look at the ladies. There are just
every shot.
Women. Every shot. They're like, let's make sure that women know that video games are cool, and let's put them in every shot possible.
Yeah, the entire auditorium is filled with women. The host is ridiculous, though.
The host is seriously me in the future, but in the past right now, Dan.
Exactly.
Like, hello, everybody. Look at my hands. 3, 2, 1. He's sweaty the whole time. Like, he's really into it, but, you know, he's infectious.
Is that how you knew, dude? You saw this guy and you're like, this is what I'm going to do.
I did, dude. I really watched this, and it was just fascinating. I just loved it.
It was really funny.
I didn't watch this guy and say I wanted to look like that guy or be like that guy, but
I mean, they had a lot of foresight with this, dude, right? It's a show. There's a cool stage. There's a big crowd. They're going crazy. There's balloons. There's hype. There's neon. There's glowing. There's lights. It's fucking esports. This is like...
The people are freaking out right now. There's women everywhere, and they're super hype about it. So they're playing through
just like every Dota event.
They're playing through pools, and now they're able to move on into what is the final round. But only the top 3 from pools are going to be able to make it into that final round. Yep. So who's our top 3? We have Lucas, of course, who makes it in. No surprise. Maura Grissom, who is Maura Grissom, who is just some random girl with 2 very long, what is it, pigtails,
pigtail braids,
huge nerdy glasses. You'll probably see a little later, and you know, just like kind of a fill-in role, I guess. And then third, we find out at the end there's only 1 spot left. Who could it be? Boom, Jimmy gets it. He nails it. He's able to make it into the final round. But the best part now is the next clip we're going to air is when they announce what round 3 actually is, Dan. They have a special thing in store for the final round for the final 3. What is it? Let's check it out.
They are going to have to play a game that they have never, ever played before.
New game?
In 15 minutes,
There's
you
all
get
girls
to
in
your
the
station.
crowd.
What? A new game? You didn't say there'd be a new game!
What? A brand new game?
Okay.
Same reaction from Artifact, by the way.
Yeah.
Same reaction to when Valve announced that there's a new game called Artifact. Everyone had the same exact reaction, like, what? You'd think people would be hyped. There's a brand new Nintendo game coming out
they're
that
pissed.
these competitors had to play. Everyone, even in the audience, super strategy, like, wait a minute, you didn't say there was going to be a new game that they'd have to play.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine going to a tournament? Imagine at TI, they release a hero in the middle of the tournament only for the grand finals. Or if they, like, released a patch.
Yeah, of course
only
it's
for the
not
grand
fair.
finals. It's insane.
But again, they came into this event not knowing what they're going to play, just that they have to be great video gamers who have to play any and all Nintendo titles that come their way. And it's Nintendo's event, I imagine. And they're like, you know what? Final round, we're going to drop a brand new Nintendo title on your ass.
What's that game?
What is that game?
Super Mario 3.
Super Mario 3. They feel like it's so fitting. The top 3, the final 3, Super Mario Brothers 3.
It's like, I mean, a lot of people just consider this a giant advertisement for this game because it all leads up to this. But
And
I
it's
mean,
hype, man.
For me, I didn't even think about that when I saw it. It was a kid. It was just like, wow, Super Mario 3 that looks so cool. Because I'm going to look up the release date right now. I'm going to look up the release date of this, but I feel like this came out right before Christmas and that Super Mario 3 came out like maybe the same week.
Like after the movie
yeah,
was
I'm going to look it
aired
up.
and everything.
You chat about this.
I wanted to see, I thought I had a video clip of when they actually reveal Mario Brothers 3, but I might have reserved it because I didn't want to spoil it for people who had actually not witnessed this movie and wanted to be able to experience it for themselves.
what?
But they have a fantastic way of revealing the game. You know, the stage is able to break apart. They got smoke, cool lights, and a lot of hype to be able to, you know, drive the game forward. You do have a clip. All right, well, let's check out this clip of how they, like, revealed the game because it's pretty hype.
Okay, yeah, okay. Look at those braids.
Look at
Dear
them,
God.
more aggressive.
All right, they're getting in. The walls are moving. We have a modular stage design.
Smoke is just spewing out. The slow reveal.
Lucas is staring out there. What's coming up?
Where's Jimmy been? He's there, already ready to play.
With the lunchbox in tow, by the way.
Stone cold.
God, Lucas has such nice skin.
And he's just like dead looking at Jimmy. So Jimmy's there. They're ready to play. The game stations are there, Dan.
Yeah.
The game stations are weird looking.
They don't make any sense.
They have giant joysticks and buttons. Oh, by the way, I know you came in and calibrated and played the pools on your Nintendo gamepads, but now we have crazy fictional large
it's like
joysticks.
This big, and the buttons are like this, and they're like playing like this, which is
ridiculous.
It's outrageous. Yeah, so the joystick is about a half a foot to almost like 3/4 of a foot, and the buttons are about the size of your fist. And out of nowhere it comes out. It's just like some art designer made that and was just like, I don't know, it looks cool. And they were like, whatever, fine. That seems okay. And they just did it. And nobody balks. Nobody tweets about it. It's just like what it is.
So they dive in, and they never talk about the rules or anything either.
Okay, so I apologize. I'm going to touch back. So this comes out December 15th, 1989.
The movie.
Super Mario 3 releases in Japan in 88, the previous year, but it doesn't come out in North America until February 12th, 1990. So this movie is a month exactly before that game comes out. So this is actually the first look for North Americans, unless you have some like Famicom and you're importing like some weirdo weeb in the 80s, which is like didn't actually happen.
Can't really do
that.
You know,
and there's not really game magazines around there that was doing that kind of stuff. So this is your first look at it, and a month later it comes out. So if you see this, you're buying that game.
Yeah, for sure.
You got Raccoon Mario. Come on, give me a break.
For sure. And we don't know what it is they're about to get into. As I said, there's no rules. They're just playing the game, and they have some sort of crazy scoring system in play. There's like dudes running on a screen, and they're like, oh, they're running ahead. They got more points. He's in front, so he's winning. It just seems like they're trying to go as far as they can in the game and score as much as possible within a 10-minute timing window, really. And Jimmy has a hard start, too. He actually falls short a couple of times and is clearly behind the other two at the beginning. He gets fucked at the beginning, yeah.
But what's really weird about this is from the scoring system, how Jimmy wins is he uses the flute. So
He
first
uses
off,
the flute.
how the hell do you find the secret passage
Let's
to the
play
flute?
this clip, though. Eric, we have a clip fired up. We'll play it muted.
Okay.
It's like that whole sequence where Jimmy is able to really turn things around and suddenly knows the game on apparently a deeper level somehow than the other competitors who are playing it here. But, this is where it actually gets super hype.
All right, so he finds this flute. Use the flute, Jimmy. Just so everybody knows, the flute does not have any impact on your score. Warping does not change your score. But look, Jimmy, suddenly warp zone access. He goes from
warp zone's been
66K.
activated.
Boom! He jumps in the lead. But that doesn't actually mean anything. So they must be using a separate scoring system to evaluate the players. And that him using the bonus somehow added some multiplayer. Okay, also he traveled, those two shots are traveling like between 7 worlds in like 15 seconds. So obviously it's a movie, guys.
It's a movie.
Stop taking it so seriously. It's a little bit
We
ridiculous.
see the family there now supporting. I don't think that was mentioned yet, but the dad and brother show up. At this point, everyone has been able to converge at Universal Studios like you do. The mom, the stepfather, Mr. Putnam, the natural father, and of course brother. They're all there now. They see this happening. They see Jimmy winning, and they want to support him. And look at that. He pulls out in front, dude. He gets it. He wins. He does it. He gets the best score thanks to the flute. Everyone's freaking out. They love him now. The girls are taking off their tops. They're not doing that, but they are just livid. The host freaks out, throws the clipboard. Look at you. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And, Logan's
Vision.
like, the competitors are not sportsmanship at all. They actually are pissed off about it. But, man, Jimmy does it, man.
Even Putnam's into it.
Putnam's even like, hey, I know that kid. And he's all about it. But, you're at this point, you're on cloud 9 right now. And
he's also wearing a Vision shirt, by the way. Jimmy he gets to wear a Psycho Vision, which is like their classic design. He gets to wear that. Just an FYI. So Vision is all
the way they
Vision.
dress like the hero in the movie, yeah.
So, yeah, the brother and everybody else doesn't get it, but it's the cool kid and Jimmy. All get Vision.
I love this ending. Just awkward smile. Hold it there, baby.
Dude, look at that.
Hold that awkward smile.
Forever.
Hold it, Jimmy.
Never.
Hold it.
Don't cut.
Hold it,
don't
Jimmy.
Cut.
Hold
Stay.
it. Okay, you're good.
Okay, you're good. Yeah.
Lots of scenes like that I let it touch there. Like poor Jimmy's just sitting there.
He's just standing.
And it's like, now, Jimmy, your character, you don't say anything, so just sit there and say nothing. And just so many shots of
How
him
do you
having
feel
to,
about that as an actor? Like, Jimmy, the majority of the movie doesn't say anything, which I think is harder to do than to have dialogue. So at least you have, like, some type of reason to be there and doing things. What do you think? Like,
I would think that would be just so rough on him. I mean, they probably helped as much as they can, keep him out of background shots, so that way he's not just forced to sit there and look like he's into it.
He's got to be falling asleep. Jimmy!
Hey, little boy, can you keep it together for just a bit? We're trying to finish the film.
Got 5 more minutes, just one more take, buddy.
Come
Stay
on, little
awake,
Jimmy,
buddy.
keep the eyes up there. It's got to be tough. I can't imagine right now. But they're able to do it, Dan. We finally made it almost there. Jimmy does it. He scores, and you're like, okay, now where do the families go from here? Jimmy is just put into a car with his mom and stepfather.
Everybody's brought together, though. We're all here.
They're all brought together briefly, but then they start separating a bit again. But on the way out, Dan, California. They see the dinosaurs, and Jimmy's like, I got to get out of the car.
Sinclair, right
there.
There
it is.
Yeah.
And they stop here, and this is where the last and final family bonding moment's going to be.
Again, this scene was also from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yep.
They have a scene at this exact same part. But, yeah, go on. So this scene, now, to give you a little bit of background behind the scenes, this entire scene was off script. They rewrote it the night before. The studio did not give him permission to shoot it.
Whoa.
The director himself called all the actors and said, come in, we're going to shoot the scene. He ran through rehearsal with them in the morning. They blocked out everything and then shot it in one afternoon, and that was it. And then they put it in the movie. The studio still hated it. We're going to talk about why in a second.
But the thing is like, if we just closed out on that gaming tournament and the movie ended there, there would have been way too many. Just like, it's like, is Jimmy happy now? Does he feel good? Did he close things out with his sister? Does he feel like that's all fine and
There was another ending.
There was another
ending besides this, but let's talk about this ending right now.
Okay. So for this one, if you didn't notice in the picture earlier with Jimmy and Jennifer, this is where they were together in that picture.
So it's kind of like the foot of the dinosaur.
It's kind of like their last happy memory together, and he's looking to bring that lunch pail with those pictures, with all those, special pieces, and just kind of put it to rest.
And if you're just listening and not watching this podcast, where they are is they're in the middle of California at this like roadside attraction that has giant green dinosaurs that you can walk up to, take pictures with, and walk inside. So they go inside for the scene that happens, and Dakota, describe that scene.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy's like he's been the whole movie, just beelining his way straight on forward, goes right up inside the dinosaur, up through the neck, and just begins to put his lunch pail down into rest. Corey races up with him. The whole family's chasing up with him. And it's Corey to translate again for Jimmy what it is he's doing here. He's looking for closure and just wanted to say goodbye.
Extremely emotional scene. Extremely, there's a lot of depth going on here. It's basically him letting go of his dead sister. And he leaves this box that has all his memories of her, all his photos of her, and he wants it to be there, which is the last time for him. I'm actually getting, even just talking about, first off, I cried when we watched this, okay? I cried while we were watching this movie. I cried during a lot of movies. It's very easy for me to cry because
I'm an easy crier too.
So he's sitting there and he is essentially burying his dead sister in this dinosaur to move past it. And his whole family is there and realizes that that's what's going on and realizes he's been holding on to all this stuff.
Which is ridiculous that the mom of that little girl, the brother's like, oh, that's what this is all about. Well, no shit. No shit. Why aren't you feeling the same feelings
Everybody
at that
else
moment?
Was
Everyone's just kind of like, oh, that's what this is all about?
Oh, yeah, our dead girl, the little girl that we loved.
And as kids are watching this like, oh, what? Is she dead? Who is that?
I just remember, I don't remember this. I just remember it being like they went there. It didn't, I had no idea that it went this deep.
And I feel like in the future, for future movie buff podcasts, when we cover these great nostalgic wonders, we're going to be doing a lot of the same thing, just kind of watching it as a kid, watching it as an adult, just all that slips by to your young, immature mind that you just don't get to witness it. But
and the only reason this scene actually makes it in the movie is because they screened both versions, the one with the studio ending and the one with this ending, and this ending overwhelmingly went over better with audiences.
So can you give me a wrap? What was the other ending about?
I actually don't know.
Okay.
I think the other ending was that they went home and were happy. It's basically, it skips this part and just goes to where that movie ends normally.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
There's just they don't go back to this.
Man, so where are they now, Dan?
Where are they now? Okay,
where are they now?
This is another fun thing about these movies that I think is really cool. And whenever I watch one of these, I'm like, where are they? And I always Google them. So I want to go into just the main characters.
Just do the
in the
main,
movie, okay? Yeah. So first we can do Haley, because I love Haley. And I think that it's amazing where she, so her name is Jenny Lewis. Yeah. Okay, so this is her now.
Oh.
This is her then. So
she looks like Zooey Deschanel, kind of.
Very appropriately, I feel like her character in this movie is who she grows up to be. She's a rock star now.
Really? Oh.
She's got several projects going on. Probably one of the most famous one. This is from one of her recent album covers. One of her more famous ones is a band called the Postal Service. You might know them from the early 2000s.
She's in that band?
Yeah, she's part of the Postal Service.
What?
Yeah.
I love the Postal Service.
She's a rock star, dude. She's a rock star.
Whoa.
She's got 4 projects. This is
Such Great Heights and all that. Are you serious?
This is called Jenny and the Something Twins is this band.
Okay.
But she is so cool, and she's exactly what, if Haley was a real person, she would grow up to be who Jenny Lewis actually is.
I wonder if people go up to her and say, "I like to introduce myself, or I'm going to scream," or something like that.
Dude, yeah, I wonder if she gets back. It's funny because she was on a couple other things after this. She did a couple of TV shows, and then she moved into music and started her music career. And she's been very, very successful and has a really normal, cool life. But it's just I was looking through her Twitter and she was posting all these GIFs. So she doesn't forget where she came from, and I think it's fun,
That's cool.
And I think just is one of my favorite stories of where are they now, because it's so cool, and that's
awesome.
That's where Haley would be, this little flower child almost, because Haley I always see as a flower child. Also, we really don't get closure on Haley in this movie. There's a lot of weird things with her parents and her family, and she never.
Does she even have a home to
No!
go back to?
Where
We
does
don't
she
even
go
know.
after
Do
this?
the parents take her in suddenly?
Haley is just like, all right, I'm just gonna go now, guys, and then just
I'll
like
just
goes back to the bus stop.
I'm gonna go just be with the drivers and the truckers
How
again.
old is she's like 12, 13 in this movie? She's like a year older than Corey, I think. Like, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
So-
I imagine that this is where Haley goes. She has a good
Okay.
life. She becomes a musician. Okay.
Thank you. I needed that closure.
All
Next
right,
person.
So next, let's go to, I think, Fred Savage.
Fred Savage, we
Fred
know
Savage, who
a
plays
bit.
Corey in this movie. So here's Fred. What a guy. His smile hasn't changed. First off, amazing actor. Obviously, at the time, gigantic heartthrob. When they filmed this movie in Nevada, so this article I'm going to link that has all these townspeople's stories all talk about how amazing of a person he was, how everywhere he went, he was surrounded by girls screaming, but he was super poised, very intelligent. Now, he's a director.
Yep.
He's an actor.
Behind the
He's
camera.
got a Netflix show that just came out this year called Friends from College. He's also on a show with Rob Lowe called The
Ooh.
Grinder, I think, and it's about an actor who plays a lawyer and his brother who's a lawyer in real life. Both successful shows. He's won awards for them. An interesting award that he also won, is a golden, I believe it's a raspberry, golden raspberry.
Oh, that's the worst.
It's a Razzie.
For what?
The worst director. He didn't win. He got nominated for worst director for the Adam Sandler vehicle, Dad. Oh shit, I can't remember right now.
Oh, one of the new Happy Madison
It's one of
films.
it's just like a really bad movie. So
Okay.
that I thought that was interesting. He went from but he's doing very well, very
He's working.
successful.
He's working.
behind the camera. He started directing on his brother's. Well, right before that, on a show called Working, which was a very short-lived show, part of that Friday night block back in the day of Boy Meets World and stuff like that, which his brother was on, who played Corey Matthews on Boy Meets World. So then he directs Working, he directs a couple episodes of Boy Meets World, and then goes on to do a bunch of stuff. But he's still on camera, still acting,
Good for
still
him.
behind the camera. Probably the
great.
most successful besides Haley. Okay, so next, let's go to our Jimmy boy.
Jimmy. Now, I know that if I watched this movie as a kid, I feel like I've never seen him again after this, Dan.
No.
Where did Jimmy go?
He's still acting.
He is.
You do see him actually. So right after this, he's very popular still in two huge movies, Newsies. And
Wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
Newsies.
right.
So he's one of the kids in Newsies,
Okay.
as well as he has the lead role in Little Big League.
Little Big League,
which is in the same vein of like Angels in the Outfield.
I loved Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah,
Little Giants.
Little
and all
Giants.
That.
All these
Yeah.
movies that started with Little. Okay. So he does a bunch of those.
Sports kid movie stuff. Yeah.
Then he does some like tier 2 movies, TV shows. He's still acting. I just think it's very interesting. I think he's a very handsome guy. He reminds me of who plays Legolas? Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom, yeah.
Orlando Bloom and Kawa have a baby. Yeah. And that is him.
Okay.
Kawa, if you're out there, Kawa, another esports guy. I feel like I look at him, I see Kawa. Okay. And so our last member, so we have the three friends.
Who are you gonna
Everybody's
do?
doing pretty well. Okay. The last guy I want to talk about.
Slater?
Lucas.
Lucas.
All right.
Oh
Okay.
my!
All right. So
oh,
Lucas's
no.
story.
Lucas, what happened?
Lucas's story is not as happy.
Oh,
so
God.
His acting career plummets after this.
Oh no.
His biggest thing is in '96. He has a role on Law and Order.
Okay.
But basically, this mugshot that you see is because he is a registered sex offender in New York City. He was put away for molesting children.
Oh, he got gloves on kids.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So he got his power gloves all over those little guys, and it was so bad.
Oh no, Dan.
So in one of the saddest turns, like you look this up, and you can see his mugshots for like 10 years because every year he has to repost with that. But that's all he does. And I guess in the 2000s when the whole trend came back, he like made a Twitter account and he started trying to do the power glove thing, but kind of got disgraced really quickly as soon as. I mean, the internet finds out that you like are diddling little kids. You're not gonna fucking be their favorite anymore.
You can't try to be a meme again.
No, you're not gonna. Especially a living meme. It's not gonna happen.
There's no way you can come back from diddling kids and being a meme.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I don't even want to look at that
that's
anymore.
unfortunate.
Okay, sorry
for
to be
Lucas.
sad. Okay,
No,
so one more just behind the scenes. I don't have a
Lucas
picture or
got
anything of
his,
it.
okay.
Is the director? So he goes on to direct 2 amazing shows.
Oh.
After this, along with the guy who produced this, who helped him with a lot of that, was also the guy who produced Wonder Years. But he does Malcolm in the Middle.
Great show.
And the Larry Sanders Show.
Really?
Yeah, 2 extremely popular television sitcoms, families, things like this. But, you know, people go crazy places, and it's interesting to see where they are now. I'm super happy for Miss Lewis and very sad for Mr. Lucas.
Man, we made it through The Wizard. It took probably longer than we thought to be able to make our way through that
How long,
journey of
Eric,
an
what's our-
experience. But
just under 2
we're going to make it
hours.
just to 2 hours for this one. But, I mean, it's just such a classic piece. And being able to rewatch it again was just such a treat and really made me feel like, is this, like, embedded notes in my brain from when I was a kid that helped me be in this position now? Like, was I watching this, watching the gaming, the excitement, the stage, the dudes screaming out about it? Was I like, oh, God,
I think this gave a lot of people the dream that this could be possible. Like, whether or not like it's in the back of your head or the front of your mind, I think that it gave you a vision of what it could be like. Because competitive gaming doesn't really come around for another decade. And it's very much
not
so...
till you can really play like online against other people and compete on that. It was at this point playing in arcades against each other. Maybe you'd have these home consoles and play head-to-head, but you have a home console. How do you take that home console and put it out there for everyone to play against each other? No tournaments were really being done till that.
No. And it makes me really nostalgic, obviously, for a million reasons. You know, I wish I could go to a gas station and play an arcade. I wish I could have the kind of clothes that they're wearing all the time and feel cool in them. You know, I want a power glove. I want that amazing 80s retro future fucking happy look at the cocaine future. You know, that's what I want.
Of course. All right, so that was an amazing trip down nostalgic lane. We're going to be visiting other nostalgic moving pictures from history and our future podcast episodes. But up on our next podcast episode, we're going to be going back to something a little bit different again. Dan, I want you to talk about it at all if you have much you want to say about our next movie buffed episode.
We're going back to Dota.
Going back to Dota.
I'm super excited because we have some really cool guests. We're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about TI7 and Team Liquid's victory. We're going to go over True Sight, and we're going to go over Team Liquid's own documentary that they're putting out.
Brand new piece.
And what we are very lucky and excited about is that we have from 1UP, the video production company that handles all of Team Liquid's media, as well as done tons of other cool work. We have Damien and Ian, that director and editor. They're amazing guys. They're super cool. They're going to be joining us on set, talk about everything from what it's like to be in esports and the video production side to what it was like to watch their team win TI7, which is a pretty cool thing. We're going to break out True Sight with them, which is what a fun thing to do.
These guys make this shit, and they're going to be able to be here firsthand and talk about it. I mean, you don't really get those kind of experiences just anywhere. So,
like director's commentary podcast mixed with like super behind the scenes.
I'm excited because we get to do a little bit of that everything there. We get to enjoy these little intimate pieces like this one here, The Wizard, with each other, and then we also get these opportunities where if there's these big breaking documentaries or awesome featured pieces, we may be able to get the creators in-house to talk about it. So it's awesome. I'm excited. We don't want to dabble on too much longer, guys. It's been a awesome time here chatting about The Wizard. If you want to check out some of our other podcasts, be sure to hit up the Beyond the Summit podcast over on our iTunes, our SoundCloud, our Google Play, all that good shit.